Hey everyone, hope you're all staying safe and happy Mental Health Awareness Month. My name is Emily Zhong and I am a second generation immigrant. Like many people who came here, I was promised a better and happier life. But it turns out to be an endless torment. For over 10 years, my family has been quietly dealing with a mentally ill member. We kept enduring the cycle of his phases because we didn't know how to stop it without potentially giving up on him. Instead, we gave up on being happy. Finally, because of COVID 19, I said to my family, enough. If he still cannot cooperate with us, especially right now, to keep us all safe and maybe alive, then we have to stop letting him run our lives, even if it means letting him go. But why did it take us over 10 years and a pandemic to say finally and break the cycle? During moments of doubt, I kept imagining the worst possible outcomes and asked myself, is this really necessary? Why? How do we get to this point? When is this going to end? So I looked to our past for some validation to stop all these negative thoughts. My family came to the States to be together, united, because we were physically apart before. Our dad was our glue. But just as we were building our lives together, he suddenly passed away, and it shattered the family. We were left to deal with our own emotional baggage alone. My older brother's baggage, on the other hand, is a ticking bomb. He started showing psychological symptoms in his late teens and early 20s, but none of us knew that they were abnormal. We just thought he was being extremely rebellious. Finally, he exploded and was admitted to the hospital for the first time for schizophrenia. This was 10 years ago. During this time, the family was even more helpless as we fall deeper into our depression. And because of strict Asian values such as don't air your dirty laundry, as if these are something we should be ashamed of, it prevented us from being open to professional help and to each other because instead of solving problems together, we buried them deep inside each of us. Over time, some of us did improve. My mother and I, we now had professional help, and my little brother started to open up again. But one of us didn't. As three of us improved, his self contempt grew, and it made him even more difficult to deal with. Finally, in February 2020, right before the statewide quarantine, my older brother again refused medication and started displaying questionable behaviors. My family was afraid for his life and their life, so they called for medical and law enforcement. This will be his fifth time in the psychiatric ward. I returned home during the quarantine because my mother's house was under renovation and was extremely unprepared for it. Most importantly, my older brother was to be discharged during the peak of the coronavirus in New York City. And this is a household with an elderly member, heart diseases, and a member with asthma. We were told that if one of us get the coronavirus, we were at high risk. And most importantly, I know what my mother might turn to if the lives of her two youngest children, even those that we are adult, are threatened. So for the first time, I stepped in as the decision maker about my older brother. I talked to all the medical team involved, researched on how other guardians dealt with similar situations, and way different scenarios. Finally, within a week, because that's all I had, the only clear solution I could think of has an ultimatum. When he is discharged, he will be given a choice to either stay with us under reasonable conditions such as taking his medication and following quarantine rules. Or if he really does not want to have anything to do with the family, he can be emancipated. If he chooses to stay with us, then there's hope for all of us. But if he chooses to leave us, we have to give him up because regardless of the outcome, we cannot blame ourselves because there's just so much we can do under our control. Although my mom and my brother completely trust the decision in my hands, we have to be prepared for the worst. For the first time in 10 years, we actually have a mutual agreement and an action plan. But why did it push us? How did this pandemic push us to break the cycle? The answer is simple. We still want the same dream. In order to achieve this dream, the family needs to stay alive. Although we definitely have entertained ourselves with an easier route, we chose to live on a standstill before because we were still together. Like the movie Little on Stage, we might be broken, but it can still be good. But with the pandemic, the fine line that we have been balancing on is being threatened. If we want the best chance of survival, then we have to change how we previously dealt with our problems and be prepared for the worst. So we can only hope that my older brother still wants to be part of the family and still share the same dream as us. And if he didn't, hopefully he still have a dream and still seek for help. But we know that there is still a likelihood that he would choose a more self-destructive path. And we cannot blame ourselves if that does happen. I was supposed to pick him up about 2 weeks ago, but he started showing psychological symptoms again right before his discharge. Until he returns to his normal functioning phase, we are once again on a standstill, not knowing what the outcome will be yet. But because the world also seemed to be on hold, like it paused for us, time finally stopped for us. But not in the way that it did for our dad, but in a way that we can breathe a little bit now and take the chance to correct what was not working for us. We now actually have the comfort knowing that maybe we're no longer running in circles, but it's just a very long, arduous, and tiring marathon. And not many people are given that chance. I don't have a clear vision on the course yet, but I do know how supportive cheers can be at the toughest mile point to keep us going and make the run feel easier and a little lighter. Maybe along the way, we'll get stronger as we now cheer for each other and even other runners because we all have our own race right now. Even though my mom still hesitates about exposing our dirty laundry, I'm speaking up now because I want us all to stop feeling ashamed about mental illnesses. If the problem is so dirty, it's too dirty, then let's ask for professional help to clean it. So while we're waiting for his discharge, the time will allow me to manage and potentially even find better solutions despite what's happening right now. So if you are experiencing or have experiencing something similar, let's connect. Maybe we can help each other out. And if you are currently in a very dark state, please know that there is help, just like how I found some. And that's why I can talk to you right now. Look for a friend, someone you connected to, even me, and especially a professional who have the tools to help you. There are even professional organizations right now, such as NAMI, the National Asian American Pacific Islander Mental Health Association, and something that Demi Lovato recently launched called the Mental Health Fund, provides on demand counseling when you need it during this uncertain time. That's just a text away, too. Mental illnesses and what you're going through right now is not a choice, but we all can have the option to live better if only we allow ourselves to seek for resources, understanding, and compassion. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope we all can be kinder to ourselves, especially right now. Please seek for help if you need it, and you are worth it. Thank you, and stay safe, everybody.